and South Korea's Kospi up. Here in Hong Kong, the Hang Seng Index opened higher, as well as in mainland China, the CSI 300 Index also opened higher. So experts calling it a bit of a relief rally, and that reflects some cautious optimism based on those comments by the U.S. to resolve the conflict. U.S. President Donald Trump signaling that negotiations were making progress and that Iran had offered a present related to the Strait of Hormuz. And so we're also seeing Brent crude dip to below $100 a barrel, although it is still high compared to when the conflict began.
Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen's political future is up in the air after her Social Democrats slumped to their worst election performance in over 100 years. They won the most seats after Tuesday's snap elections, but the so-called red bloc of left-wing parties failed to meet the threshold needed to form a coalition government. William Denslow reports from Brussels.
Mette Frederiksen decided to hold snap elections to take advantage of a polling bump seen over her handling of a spat with the US over control of Greenland. But her Social Democrats achieved their worst polling performance since 1903, with voters focusing more on domestic issues. Frederiksen says she wants to remain as Prime Minister for a third term, but that will be subject of tough negotiations as parties scramble to cobble together a coalition government, a process that could take weeks.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
From the studios of Extreme Sports in Hastings, Nebraska, we present Huddle Up, a great way to start your day with all the news, weather, and sports you need, interesting interviews, and friendly conversation from two guys that go together like Scooby and Shaggy, Mike Will and Tyson Havronic.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Huddle Up here on Extreme Sports, and welcome to a Wednesday, the 25th day of March for 2026. Ready to go. Got all of your news, weather, and sports that you need to get out the door here this morning. A lot to talk about. The Nebraska baseball team, they were in action last night down in Manhattan, Kansas, and hammered out 15 hits in the ball game, scored a season-high 14 runs, and beat Kansas State last night by a score of 14-9. So we'll talk about that coming up. Nebraska junior forward Jessica Petrie is set to enter the transfer portal. She averaged 11 points and about 5 rebounds per game for the Huskers last season. Former Nebraska football player Levante David is retiring from the NFL after 14 seasons. Hastings College softball team splitting a pair of games at Doane yesterday. Baseball team getting ready to face Nebraska Wesleyan in a non-conference midweek game tonight out at Duncan Field. It gets underway at 6. We'll have the action tonight here on Extreme Sports, beginning with a pregame show at 5:45. NAIA championships were decided last night. The women playing their championship game in Sioux City. The men down in Kansas City. We'll have the results this morning. Had some high school baseball played yesterday. The Hastings High baseball team captured their first win of the season as they beat York by a score of 7-6. We'll tell you about that coming up as well on the show. And speaking of baseball, Tim Stroman, the Adams Central baseball coach, is expected to join us at 7:30 here this morning. We'll be talking about the start of the season for the Patriots and what they have ahead this week. So all that and more is coming up for you this morning as we wake up and get going this morning, as we welcome in Tyson Havronic from the Western Studios. Good morning.
Hey, very good morning to you. I'm not sure what's going on with the camera at this point. We're sort of technicolored and looks like we're going through some VHS tracking a little bit, but we'll get that solved and figured out here as we move along throughout the day today. That's the wrong computer. That's mine. Okay. Let's, yes, good morning. Welcome. Tim Stroman coming in. We've got, again, you have mentioned cuts from Levante David, retires after 15 seasons. Yesterday had an opportunity to sit down and listen to that press conference, and it's one you're going to need some Kleenex for. He got really emotional, and it was rare to see kind of the emotional side of the athlete come through. And I think he just spoke like a dude, not like the football player, and was really moved by some of his responses yesterday. So hats off to one of the best black shirts to ever do it on the University of Nebraska side of things. And we move on. Opening day today officially, getting underway tonight with San Francisco and New York, and then all of the teams getting in action for Major League Baseball. Hopes starting to spring eternal. Final roster spots have been made, and I think there's just a lot of excitement for throwing that first pitch here this week.
Yeah, Major League Baseball, like you said, gets underway tonight. The Yankees playing in San Francisco to be a 7:05 start, I think, tonight on Netflix. So if you got that, you can watch the start of the Major League Baseball season tonight. And then tomorrow, 11 games on the Major League slate. So that's what's going on for baseball. A lot of stuff we want to get to before we get too involved here today. North Carolina is going to be making a coaching change for its men's basketball team. Hubert Davis was fired yesterday after the Tar Heels' stunning loss to Virginia Commonwealth in the first round of the NCAA tournament this year. Davis has nearly $5.3 million of guaranteed money left on his contract. North Carolina went 24-9 this season, but they lost to Virginia Commonwealth in the first round of the NCAA tournament this year. Some of the boosters, some of the fans were not happy with that, and just a couple of days after he loses in the NCAA tournament, Hubert Davis is out at North Carolina. Remember, last season, North Carolina lost to Ole Miss in the round of 64 after beating San Diego State in one of those first four games. So the past 2 years have not been kind for North Carolina. Davis was promoted to head coach when Roy Williams retired in 2021. Davis spent 9 years as an assistant coach on Williams' staff. He took over the program, and now he's fired after 5 seasons. He was 125-54, had a winning percentage of 69.8%. But when you're at North Carolina, hell, that's not good enough. We fire their coach, and they're going to bring in somebody new for next season. Some interesting names being touted as possible candidates to take over at North Carolina. It's one of those jobs that when it comes open, and it doesn't come open very often, right. Some of the big-name coaches kind of look to that, and I think we're going to have a big-time hire at North Carolina to take over the Tar Heels.
Well, it certainly gets the coaching carousel in motion. And, it's just a domino effect. The big-name coach goes off and takes the North Carolina gig with an opportunity to go play basketball country, go play basketball on Tobacco Road, which is, North Carolina, Duke. That's the two places you want to do it at. Throw Kentucky maybe into the mix if you're feeling squirrely, but North Carolina and Duke have that established, credentialed blue blood mentality, and it's going to attract the top name coach. And when it attracts top name coach, then that program becomes available, and then the next program, and it'd be very interesting to see how the deck stacks after the coaching carousel gets done going. So it could be a very interesting off season with the North Carolina announcement. But it just goes to show you it's the differences, right? Like from the Husker fan base side of things, we were ecstatic just to get in the tournament, to win a game, to beat Troy, and you feel like we just moved a mountain. Meanwhile, in North Carolina, they lose a first round game 2 years in a row, and getting to the tournament is not good enough for North Carolina. Being one of the best 64 teams, if you're not one of the best 32, certainly it is not good enough. And that's a team that needs to get some fresh blood injected for sure.
All right, so Hubert Davis is out at North Carolina. Syracuse has made a coaching hire. Former star guard Jerry McNamara has been named the head coach at Syracuse, nicknamed G-Mac. He's returning to where he and Carmelo Anthony led the Orange to a national championship in 2003. McNamara then spent 14 years as an assistant coach under Hall of Fame coach Jim Boeheim and an additional season under his successor, Adrian Autry. And now he replaces Autry, who was fired after 3 largely disappointing seasons in which the Orange went 49-48 and extended their NCAA tournament drought to 5 seasons, the school's longest since 1967 to 1972. McNamara returns to Syracuse after spending the past 2 seasons at Siena, where he went 37-30. So Jerry McNamara is going to be the new head coach at Syracuse. So a couple of coaching changes in the past 24 hours or so. Got some NFL notes for you this morning. Joe Flacco is not going to go anywhere. Joe Flacco, who is now 41 years old, has signed a contract to stay with the Cincinnati Bengals. His contract is for $6 million. Could be worth up to $9 million with incentives. Flacco began last season as a Cleveland Browns top quarterback, but after 4 starts, he was benched in favor of Cleveland rookie Dylan Gabriel. Well, around that time, the Bengals needed a starting quarterback following Joe Burrow's turf toe injury and Jake Browning's struggles. So Cincinnati got on the phone, made a trade with Cleveland, sent the Browns a 2026 fifth-round pick in exchange for Flacco and a 2026 sixth-round pick. Browning ended up going to Tampa Bay earlier this offseason. Joe Flacco is going to stay at Cincinnati. 9 total appearances last season with the Bengals. Flacco completed 61.7% of his passes for 1,664 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. During his career, Flacco has completed about 48% of his passes for 272 touchdowns, 172 interceptions. So Joe Flacco, it's the Energizer Bunny of the NFL. Joe Flacco is going to stay at Cincinnati for another season, agreeing to a contract yesterday at 41 years old. He'll be on the roster this year for Cincinnati.
Yeah, just 1-1 for the good guys everywhere. So you look at those guys, and I get insulted when I watch ESPN now because they're dogging guys like Joe Flacco, and I'm like, hey, I just turned 40. You're dogging me too, which they should be. But yeah, Joe Flacco still slinging the rock. God love it. Got the whole bunch of old guys rooting for him this year.
The New Orleans Saints have added a veteran quarterback to their quarterback room. They have agreed to a 1-year deal with Zach Wilson. Wilson's going to back up Tyler Shuck, the Saints' second-round pick in 2025, who had a strong rookie season in New Orleans after replacing Spencer Rattler, the 2024 fourth-round pick, who remains on the team. The Saints also have the 2023 fourth-round pick in their room, Jake Haener. He was in the room, and I don't know what's going on here, but Jake Haener, he was in the room for the Saints, and he was allowed to become a free agent this spring. He has since signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson signing with the New Orleans Saints.
There you go.
Yesterday. So a couple of NFL moves yesterday.
I need a graphic. I need like a picture or something. Like here but not here. Can't get my camera to work today. It's being stupid.
I see that.
Well, no, you don't see that.
Yeah, I don't see what you're doing, but I see nothing but a black screen for you.
They see there's nothing happening. So
anyway, Flacco stays with Cincinnati.
Yep.
Zach Wilson, he's going to move on to the New Orleans Saints to back up our friend and Tyler Shuck. Jake Hayner, who was the third quarterback last season, he's now a member of the Kansas City Chiefs. So Zach Wilson will move on to the New Orleans Saints and providing a little quarterback depth for New Orleans.
There you go.
Those are some news and notes around the nation.
The Falcons signed Brian Robinson. He's a running back yesterday. So here's the thing that I'm going to tell you this now, because you always give me the Alex Bowman updates for my fantasy NASCAR purposes. I, as a fantasy football champion, am going to give you some advice for fantasy football. He's different from Bijan Robinson, who's also a running back for the Falcons. Don't get confused. The Falcons have 2 B. Robinsons on the roster.
Oh,
that could lead to some fantasy football disasters.
Yes, it will. One's Bjorn and one's who?
Bijan Robinson and Brian Robinson.
So we're going to have 2 B. Robinsons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'll be a mess for fantasy football this year. God. I can hear it to the draft. Which Robinson do you want?
I can't believe I got a steal. I got Robinson in the 14th round.
No, you didn't. You got the other Robinson. God, I can hear that already. All right, waking up with Mike and Tyson here this morning. This is Huddle Up on Extreme Sports. Again, Tim Stroman, the Adams Central baseball coach, is expected to join us at 7:30 this morning. As long as we're talking the NFL stuff,
yeah,
we might as well get into Levante David.
Sure.
Of course, a former Husker, Levante David. He's retiring after 14 seasons in the league. He was a 12-time captain for Tampa Bay, a key member of their Super Bowl winning team in 2020. He finishes with 41.5 sacks, 32 forced fumbles, 14 interceptions in his career. He's one of just 4 players in league history to record 40 career sacks, 30 forced fumbles, and 10 interceptions, joining Pro Football Hall of Famer Julius Peppers, Ray Lewis, and Greg Lloyd. So obviously a great career for Levante David. He announced his retirement yesterday, and we kind of chimed in on what he had to say. He was a former Husker. Anyway, he talks about the journey from being a Husker to a Super Bowl champion.
Going to the University of Nebraska, I kept that chip, kept that same mindset. And throughout every year that I've been here, I had that same mentality. Just have that chip on my shoulder. And every time I step on the field, I want to prove myself right and all my doubters wrong. And a lot of people helped me continue that dream, could help me continue that process. And, I want to thank everybody, throughout, my journey, throughout my career for, pushing me and helping me, be the greatest I can be.
And David also reflected on Tampa Bay changing coaches to Todd Bowles in the middle of his NFL career with the Bucs.
Nah, man, it was just an incredible moment just growing up in a house of people who just support you and who love you and genuinely wants to see you live out your dreams. And, every big moment, that's why I always have them here with me because, they was with me every step of the way. And, my little league coaches, all those guys, my high school coaches, my college coaches, everybody who played a huge part in my career, man. I just want to salute you, and I want to take my hat off to you guys and let them know that I love them dearly. And, Coach B.A. and Coach Bowles, it was another point in my career where, it was a coaching change coming. And, I thought it might be, a change of the guard, a clean house situation. But Jason, those guys reached out to me and told me, nah, man, we want you to be a part of this, and this is going to turn around, and we're going to basically do it for you. And when they said that, I'm like, hey, for me, man, y'all want me to be a part of this? I'm like, I don't know, it's a whole new scheme. Coach Bowles coming with a 3-4 system. I never played in a 4-3 my whole career. I don't know how to adjust to that. And they told me, you're going to have fun. Trust me, you're going to love it. And I just remember telling Bo at the first meeting, yeah, this is what I like to do right here. I appreciate that. I think I'm going to have fun in this. And I told them, man, those guys, like, help me have fun with the game again. And it shows every time I'm out there on the field. I see some of the guys, some of my old teammates in here right now. I hope you guys know that, man. I greatly appreciate you guys, and you guys brought joy to me every time I stepped on the field to be able to live up to not only my standards, but the standards you guys hold me to. And that's what I really love. Y'all boys held me accountable from the jump.
We're listening to some comments from Levante David, the former Husker, who announces his retirement yesterday from the NFL after 14 seasons. David says he's going to spend some more time to be a dad and to spend some time with his family.
My 14-year career has come to an end, and I feel it's time to, move on and, find a different path in life, mainly being a dad to that amazing little girl over there. Changed my life so much. People always talk about, like, man, you need to have a daughter, You never understand. I'm like, why you want me to have a daughter so bad? And I'm like, everybody, being a masculine man, you want to have a son. Like, I want a son so he could, follow my footsteps and do, so I can help him become a man. But little did I knew it. Having a girl helped me become a man, helped me understand what's important in life. And she definitely does that daily. And I'm thankful. I'm sure she don't understand right now, but when she look back, she'll see, it's just an incredible journey. It's an incredible time in my life to be able to just be able to raise her to be an incredible young woman and be the best person in the world and be kind, be generous, be loving, and be caring to people who you come across. And I see it in her already, and I just hope that, I continue to do that.
And Levante says his doubters made him stronger both at Nebraska and in the NFL.
I think the main thing for real, man, just going through those tough seasons, building my character, building my passion, building my drive, and understanding, that it means a lot to me. A lot of people going through those times will fold, will quit, just turn into a-holes and, just fall off. But my drive, my passion was different. I like to say I'm built different. I always want to prove people wrong. Like going through those times, I used to see all the message boards, all the, the down talking, all the naysayers, all the, the people saying, the people with the trash bags over their heads and stuff like that. That was my motivation. That was my drive. And I think going through that right there kind of like driven me to, play my hardest and kind of shut people up. And thank God I got a chance to do that by winning the Super Bowl. And I'm going to ride with that for a very long time.
And finally, Levante David talks about what he wants his legacy to be in Tampa.
When I look around, my legacy, I would say, touched a lot of people in a good way, in a positive way. I felt as though, like, when I came in this league, when I came to this organization, I wanted to be the best football player I can be. It's just the best football player I could be. But it turned out the main thing was just being the best person I could be. And, like I said, man, I built so many friendships with so many people in here. And, that's something that I, kind of like, at the end of the day, I'm really, really happy about. I know for a fact, once I leave this building, like, there's nobody in here that can't, call my phone and we can talk anytime. And that's something that I'm most proud of, besides the football side. And, I feel like, the football stuff speaks for itself, but for me to actually, like, come in the organization, be here for 14 years, for them to accept me, accept my family, and for them to be able to, accept me as not look at me as this football player, but look at me as a friend. That's the thing that I'm most proud of, and for everybody in here, like I always say, man, I'm so thankful for y'all. Y'all gave me a reason to come in this building and smile and be able to be happy. Y'all know every time I come here, I was happy to be here. Happy to throw jokes around with you guys. Happy to, give you guys a hard time sometimes. But at the end of the day, it was all I love. Everybody played a pivotal role in my life, and I'm definitely, thankful and grateful for y'all because y'all are such great people, and I love being around great people, and y'all make me a great person. I'm thankful for that. Appreciate it.
All right, Lavonte David saying his goodbyes to the NFL after 14 seasons. He made that announcement yesterday. Probably one of the best, well-known Tampa Bay Buccaneer football players, and he comes from Nebraska, no doubt about it.
Without a doubt. And, one of the best to ever put the black shirt on. And what a quote. I mean, what a quote to start off a Wednesday, right? Surround yourself with great people because they make you a great person. Keep that in the forefront as you move around your day-to-day.
All right, boy. That's heavy stuff to get started here for this show.
Yeah.
Heavy stuff for this show to get going.
That's one of the best retirement press conferences I've ever watched. And not just because I love the guy. I mean, you just love Lavonte David, the person and the player. But he just answered honest, He didn't have to be guarded with the media. He was just really open, and he was himself. And boy, I was just pretty moved from some of his words yesterday, for sure.
All right, waking up with Mike and Tyson here this morning. It's a Huddle Up on Extreme Sports for this Wednesday. Again, if you'd like to chime in with us, you can. 402-834-1330. 402-834-1330. That's the Hamilton Telecommunications fan line. If you'd like to leave us a message on our social media sites, we're monitoring those comments as well. We expect Tim Stroman to join us here in just a few minutes to talk about Adams Central Patriot baseball. Right now, let's check the news and sports headlines. 7:26. It's a Huddle Up on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning news update on Extreme Sports.
We will start off at the state capitol. Hang on. There we go. Nebraska lawmakers are expected to return to budget debate today after several days of negotiations at the Capitol. Senators are working to close a significant budget shortfall with disagreements over spending cuts and revenue options slowing progress. Lawmakers have already advanced parts of the budget, but key issues remain unresolved. Some proposals to raise revenue have stalled, while others continue to be debated. With that deadline approaching, senators face increasing pressure to reach a final agreement and pass a balanced state budget before the legislative session wraps up. Meanwhile, Nebraska nonprofits are struggling to keep up with the surge in immigration cases as demand for legal help continues to be on the rise. Advocates point to a sharp increase in federal immigration arrests and a growing court backlog, with some cases now taking years to be heard. Organizations providing legal aid report wait lists stretching from several months to up to a year, leaving many immigrants without representation. The situation could worsen with the closure of a long-running immigration law clinic, further reducing available services. Nonprofits warn that without more attorneys and resources, many immigrants may be forced to navigate the legal system alone or face deportation. It is 7:27. We'll head back over to the East Side Studios. Mike, what's going down in sports?
Well, Drew Grego homered twice and drove in 5 runs to lead the Nebraska baseball team to a 14-9 win over Kansas State last night in Manhattan, Kansas. Nebraska scored a season-high 14 runs on 15 hits and an error. Kansas State had 9 runs, 11 hits, and no errors. Jalen Whitley pitched 2/3 of an inning of relief and picked up the win. He's now 2-0 in the season. Nebraska is 19-6 and will play Indiana in a 3-game series coming up this weekend. Nebraska junior forward Jessica Petrie is set to enter the transfer portal. Petrie spent the past 3 seasons with the Huskers after coming to Lincoln from Australia. She averaged 11.3 points and 4.8 rebounds per game this season. The portal officially opens on April the 6th and will close on April 20th for women's basketball players. The Huskers also are set to lose guards Haley Weaver and Callan Hake, as well as forward Eliza Maupin, to graduation. Former Nebraska football player Levante David retiring from the NFL after 14 seasons. David was a 12-time captain of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and a key member of their Super Bowl winning team in 2020. He finished with 41.5 sacks, 32 forced fumbles, and 14 interceptions in his career. Hastings College softball team split a pair of games at Doane yesterday, losing the first game 9-4, but winning the second game 16-9. Hastings is now 10-11 on the season, 1-3 in the conference. They'll play host to Dordt on Friday. Doubleheader gets underway at 4. We'll have the action on Extreme Sports beginning with a pregame show at 3:45. Hastings College baseball team will play Nebraska Wesleyan tonight in a non-conference game out at Duncan Field. The Broncos are 14-11 in the season. The Prairie Wolves are 4-11. Hastings beat Wesleyan 5-4 in 10 innings earlier this season. First pitch tonight will be at 6. We'll have the game on Extreme Sports beginning with a pregame at 5:45 this afternoon. High school baseball from yesterday. Hastings High beat York by the score of 7-6 to capture their first win of the season. Tigers had a 7-1 lead after just 2 innings. Peyton Drake was the winning pitcher. He threw 4 innings and gave up 2 runs and 2 hits. He struck out 7, walked 1. Dom Monte had 2 hits and 4 RBIs for the Tigers. Hastings is now 1-2 on the season. They'll play at Gretna on Thursday. Some other games yesterday. Aurora beat Centennial 9-0. Central City Centura defeated Guardian Angels Central Catholic West Point Beamer 6-4. And St. Paul Palmer beat Holdridge yesterday by a score of 10-5. That's a check in your sports headlines at 7:30 on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning weather update on Extreme Sports with Chief Meteorologist Tim Jones.
Another warm day here in south central Nebraska. We'll have highs reaching close to 90 degrees today. Of course, it'll be breezy, and that'll elevate the fire risk. A red flag warning in effect today once again. South-southwest winds 10 to 20, gusting into mid-20s, along with low relative humidity values will spur any fires that hopefully don't get started. Overnight tonight, partly cloudy skies, a low in the mid-50s. Mostly sunny and breezy on Thursday, a high in the low 70s with winds gusting to 35 miles per hour.
As you wake up this morning, we have south winds at 10 miles per hour. It's partly cloudy, 55 in Hastings at Extreme Sports.
Hi guys, this is Justin Consrick with Adam Marshall Land and Auction. Just want to talk to you about how we do things. I talk to farmers every day. A lot of guys just want a simple, honest way to sell equipment. That's why I work with Adam Marshall Land and Auction. We know the equipment, we know the buyers. We run real auctions with no buyer's fees, which brings in more bidders and stronger results. From one machine to the full lineup, we handle marketing, the details, the sales start to finish. We're just real people with real auctions, real results. If you're thinking about auctioning equipment, reach out and give me a call at 308-991-5429.
I'm John Butler, funeral director and owner at Livingston Butler Vollen Funeral Home and Cremation Center in Hastings.
And I'm Nikki Butler, the advanced funeral planning specialist. Whether you choose a traditional service, cremation, or a unique memorial service, our experienced staff is here to help guide you through every step. Visit us at lbvfh.com to learn more about our services and how we can support you.
Livingston Butler Vollen Funeral Home and Cremation Center. We are here when your need is greatest.
When it comes to protecting what matters most, you need a team you can trust. At Jones Group Insurance in Kennesaw, they're committed to helping individuals, families, and businesses plan for today and prepare for tomorrow. From home, auto, and farm insurance to life coverage and retirement planning, the Jones Group takes the time to understand your goals and build a plan that fits your future. Local service, personalized guidance, trusted protection. Call Jones Group Insurance today and experience the difference a hometown team can make.
Hamilton has been providing IT solutions for businesses across the state of Nebraska for more than 3 decades. We know that Nebraska businesses are a driving force of support for the communities in which we live and work. We keep them connected and protected by delivering cybersecurity, hosted phones, and managed IT. We are grateful to be part of our Nebraska communities and to support their technology needs.
Get ready for the ultimate trivia experience with Extreme Sports Trivia. Play from anywhere at home, on the go, or at your favorite bar or restaurant. Compete live against players from all over in real time, answering questions across categories like sports, pop culture, Marvel, and more. Want to see how you stack up? Track your progress with live leaderboards and aim for the top spot. It's free, fun, and super easy to play. So what are you waiting for? Sign up today at extremesports.com trivia and start playing now. And keep an eye out. We're coming soon to a bar or restaurant near you.
Yeah, and speaking of that, just put up 2 brand new monitors out at Miscue's Sports Bar and Grill. Did that over the weekend, so now you can play our Extreme Sports Trivia and watch all of our local high school and college games on the monitors there at Miscue's Sports Bar and Grill. Stop in and check that out. Of course, the other locations at Bullseye Sports Bar and Grill, also the Tank in downtown Hastings, and District 14 Bar and Pizza out in West Hastings. You can check out all of our trivia stuff and all of our high school and college play-by-play games. You can watch them right there on the big screens. Waking up with Mike and Tyson here this morning. It's a Huddle Up on Extreme Sports. One other thing I wanted to get to before we get to Tim Stroman. NAIA National Championships decided last night. On the women's side, Marion of Indiana beat Dort by the score of 73-61. It's the 3rd overall title for Marion in the program's history and denied Dort a three-peat. The defenders were in the championship game for the 4th time in the last 5 years, but Marion of Indiana knocked off Dort last night 73-61 to win the women's title. The men's title went to Freed Hardeman of Tennessee as they beat Langston of Oklahoma 86-71 in the championship ball game down in Kansas City. 7:36, waking up with Mike Will, Tyson and Vronick. It's a Huddle Up on Extreme Sports. It's a Wednesday. Always like to catch up with Tim Stroman, the Adams Central baseball coach, find out what's going on with the Patriots. Good morning, Timothy.
Morning, guys. How are you?
Doing great. You got off to a decent start in the opening weekend of high school baseball. Tell me about it.
We're tired. We take that 3-hour bus ride up to Wayne. That game's always, high emotions, high intensity, big rivalry. Take 3-hour bus ride home. 7 hours later, we're 3 hours back up, 15 minutes where we were the day before. Play a couple games in 96-degree heat, and enjoyed that nice, long 3-hour bus ride back home. But we are, I mean, it was a good start to the weekend.
Tim, let's
we played what?
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's all right. Go ahead.
My apologies. I wanted to talk a little bit about your offensive numbers. Those were jumping off the page just in terms of how hot Adams Central was swinging it here this weekend offensively. Do you find now a couple of years in that the Bats have maybe an early advantage to start off a season? Maybe as far as bats over pitchers and pitchers kind of catch up as the season moves along, or how does that all work? Again, you're batting above the 300 mark as a team. They're clicking early.
Yeah, I think currently they're hitting like 390, and they are clicking early, and it's good to see that early. And historically, the Bats, they've been there, but obviously not this hot. But our pitching execution was more there in the last couple of years. I felt, like you said, the bats were on fire this weekend, and just the way we coached the guys to never be satisfied and always keep wanting more. You have to stay to work. We did swing the bat really well, but one of the things we've done really well in the past in terms of bunting and base rounding, I felt there were some areas for improvement there. And we, you know how baseball is. I said, it's great right now. Like, guys, we're swinging the bat phenomenally. But what happens when we don't? Like, we have to be able to bunt the guys over. We have to be able to run the bases. We have to be able to execute competitive pitches in the zone. That's one of the things I felt we need to improve on for this weekend. But, you can't take away from the fact that, they beat Wayne, and not only beat them, it was from the first pitch on. When the leadoff batter of the game hits a double to the gap on the first pitch, it's a pretty cool thing to see, and the kids were erupting. And it just continued on from there. Cohen was competitive in the strike zone and kept the momentum on our side, and that was one thing that I really try and push with these guys. And it was nice to hear one of our now kind of junior players say, "Coach, I don't know what you're talking about with the momentum." And I don't know if you guys pay attention or can hear up in the box when you're doing our games, but every half inning, whether we score 2 runs, I'll say keep the momentum on our side, meaning let's go out and attack this first batter. Don't give him a free base. Don't give him the momentum back. Or if it's on the flip side, we give up a couple runs, we got to get the momentum back. And that could be something as, obviously you want to try and match them or score more in a perfect world, but that could look like just getting your leadoff guy on base, like get the momentum back on our side. And I felt we did that really well the first 2 games. And then when we got to Guardian Angels, every time we get the momentum, it feels like we were just giving it right back, and it was just a back and forth. And, sitting through a 96-degree Louisville marathon the game before, it was hard for these guys. I was very impressed with their mental toughness, their ability to get themselves back up to play, well, according to the Omaha World Herald, the number 2 ranked team in the state. So in terms of where we're at as a team in this point of the season, I'm extremely happy. Is there areas we need to improve on? Absolutely. And seeing them play like this early in the season is exciting.
All right, I just pulled up your numbers. After 3 games, Tim, Adams Central hitting .389, 35 base hits, 34 runs scored, 8 doubles, 4 triples, 3 home runs, 21 stolen bases. That's after 3 games. So, yeah, your offense definitely was the highlight from the 3 games over the weekend.
Absolutely, it was a highlight. And not trying to downplay any of that. That's what I was trying to kind of express to our guys. Like, those numbers are phenomenal. But imagine what they'd be if we were to have executed in the opportunities where we had to execute. And I think it just kind of got them hungry for more, to kind of work a little bit harder at practice. And, we have another tough weekend coming ahead. And, historically, this first weekend, Wayne's kind of been the better team, and then you have kind of these small-town Louisville and GAC teams. And I think GAC is right in that position that, St. Paul was in last year and even this year. St. Paul graduated 1 kid from last year's state tournament team. It's just these, a good group of local kids, all in the same grade. GAC graduated 2 guys last year. So the scores may have looked a little different than years past, but, it's good to see some of these smaller teams be more competitive, because that's only going to help Class C and help high school baseball, in my opinion. But, yeah, the offensive numbers, I couldn't believe it. There was a time, I think, in the 3rd inning of the GAC game, we went out and did the same thing against GAC in the 1st inning. Hit a double off the wall. Next guy, I think, tripled. Next guy, I think, tripled after him. It was like, man, to start the game consecutive extra base hits like this, and then to turn around and do it again in the 3rd inning, it's amazing. The home run numbers I've never seen. Like, usually we're a small ball type of team, and we still are. But there is now, I think, room for these guys to let them swing it.
Again, head coach for Adams Central Patriots baseball, Tim Stroman, joining us here on the program this morning. You brought up a point, and I want to ask it as far as what kind of material this is in the locker room for the boys. You brought up the rankings after week 1 from the Omaha World Herald. How much stock do you from a coaching staff standpoint, from a baseball team, do you guys put into these rankings, especially when you're going up maybe against some top 5, top 10 competition? What is the drive to essentially be the number 1 team on those Class C rankings?
Well, it's a funny question because you see all these, and people put a lot of merit into them, and that one from the Omaha World Herald, that's one particular writer. Mm-hmm. But you see all these herd at coaches polls and all that garbage, in my opinion, because I've coached now for 3 years, and I see all these coaches polls, yet I've never once voted in a coaches poll. So I don't really know. I don't really know where they come up with the stuff. I mean, obviously they're usually pretty close. But I mean, like in the Omaha World Herald one, you saw a team go 2-0 and drop 4 places. You see a team go 1-2 and go up 3 places. So it's hard to put merit into it. It kind of gives, maybe some motivation, I think, to the kids to say, well, I think we're better than that. I hope that does. But the way we coach these guys, we're focused on the one day at a time. And our ultimate goal is to win that day. I mean, if you go 1-0 that day, I'm sure you're going to be ranked pretty high for the day. And you add up a bunch of 1-0s, you're going to end up where you want to be at the end of the year. So, like, I like seeing them, and I like kind of looking at it because I have a lot of scouting information, but there's still a lot of teams, not so much at the Class C ranking, but there are a few that we've never came across, that we've never looked at, that maybe some of the information's not available from the opponent's standpoint of playing those people. So it is kind of interesting to see, like, kind of what to expect out of a team. Like, if we were, I'm just throwing a name out there, but if we were to match up against Arlington, yeah. I don't really know much about Arlington. So, I mean, it's something that you can kind of look at. But, yeah, to address the first part of your question, Tyson, I don't know where they get it. I honestly don't know. If it's coaches, like if there's like 2 guys that used to be coaches that call themselves coaches and want to come up with a coach's poll, or if it is actually coaches and I just have not made the right people happy yet and haven't got invited.
All right, Coach, after the first 3 games, individually, players over the weekend, who stood out over the weekend?
All the guys, in my opinion. I mean, if you want, obviously, if you're going to look at statistics, you have Owen Brown and Cohen Rader sitting there. Owen Brown has 2 home runs, which I think I'll have to look, but I think 2 home runs is the season career leader. So you have him. You have we don't see a lot of balls hit out of the park, and Cohen Rader stands out. I mean, he's hitting, I think, 600. And when I addressed the execution earlier, part of our team identity has been the sacrifice punts in the steals. And you see a kid that's hitting in our 3-hole and hitting 670, and he's the only one that's gotten a sack bunt down. And I'm sure there's people that are watching our game saying, why is this kid even bunting? And he's the only one that's done it. And that kind of showed, I should say, done it successfully. We've had a lot of people try it this year, but I like seeing that. I like seeing that Cohen had no problem doing that and executed it phenomenally, because it shows to me that our team is bought in, and he's bought in to, that run mattered in that situation. When it was a 5-5 game and he's up and there's a leadoff man on first, he was more than willing to give himself up for our team to score a run. And that's exactly what we're trying to pound into these kids' heads that, even on the stat sheet, it might not show that you went 1-for-1 with an RBI. But you were just as important, if not more important, than the person that hit that in, because you put that runner in position to help your team be successful. So I'd say Cohen definitely stands out offensively. We've seen some guys, I mentioned last week, some younger guys that were going to be stepping into some roles. And you see, Ian Cass. Ian Cass is hitting 440, and I think he had maybe 2 varsity at-bats for us last year. You see guys like Parker Hodgett, who has been a starter in our lineup in some way, shape, or form for the last 2 years, whether it be just a defensive player, offensive player. And, he kind of struggled with the bat at the second half of last year. And he's hitting over 600 to start the year. So, the offensive numbers are there. The pitching-wise on the pitching side, our guys have done an okay job of throwing strikes. But we, I think as a staff collectively, really need to make a goal to improve on our competitive, the ways we throw our breaking balls and fastballs, so we don't have to throw all fastballs. That was a part of the issue in the Guardian Angel Central Catholic game, is we didn't throw a lot of competitive breaking balls. And we weren't able to throw breaking balls early in the count, so we kind of shifted and had to go a lot of just hard. And GAC's a good fastball hitting team, and we got to be able to execute in all departments. So even though our offense is on fire, a good offense is only as good as your defensive side, in my opinion. So, there is a lot of things that stand out, and there is a lot of good things. And, there's a couple small things that I think if we were to iron out and can get figured out here this week, we're going to be a very difficult group to face.
Tim Stroman again, head coach for Adams Central Baseball, joining us on Huddle Up this morning. Tim, I got to ask, we open up the season in Major League Baseball tonight on Netflix. Then everything gets underway. Hope Springs Eternal opening day. We all have that kid on Christmas feeling as baseball fans. The Cardinals are 28th in the preseason power rankings. The Rockies are 30th. The Nationals are 29th. Can we just agree as Rocky and Cardinal fans, just beat Washington, just be better than Washington this year? Is that our goal as Hope Springs Eternal?
Well, I like to keep my goals simple when it comes to the Rockies. I just want to be better than somebody. I don't care if it's the Rockies, if it's the 6U T-ball team practicing over at the rec field right now. I just want to be better than somebody. And, I really wish I could say, oh, you don't need to worry about those coaches' rankings. But, no, those are legit rankings. We aren't very good, the Rockies. But, yeah, Tice, that's my goal. Like, if we could be better than somebody this year, oh, man, it's almost like a World Series for us.
It might very well be St. Louis.
Well, at least we got that. I'm sure when we play each other, it might be competitive. I'm sure at that point, either you and me will be starting Game 4 for Colorado, so we'll see what's going on.
Ouch.
All right. Tim Stroman, the Adams Central baseball coach, got St. Paul Palmer coming in here tomorrow to face you guys out at Duncan Field. We'll have the game for you here on Extreme Sports. Looking forward to seeing you guys in action. Anticipate an offensive show on Thursday. We look forward to seeing you guys play tomorrow.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it too. Very excited, and excited to see you guys out there.
All right, buddy. Thanks for checking in with us. We'll catch you at the Diamond tomorrow, all right?
You betcha.
All right, Tim Stroman, head baseball coach for Adams Central. He joins us at least once a week on this show. Bring us up to date on the Patriots. They're up and rolling 2-1 on the season. Picking up a big win over Wayne last week and then splitting a little triangular over the weekend on Saturday. So they're sitting at 2-1 in the season, ranked number 3 in Class C. And they'll take on the 9th-ranked St. Paul Palmer tomorrow at Duncan Field. That game goes at 4:30. We'll have the pregame show at 4:15 tomorrow afternoon here on Extreme Sports. 7:53, waking up with Mike and Tyson. This is Huddle Up this morning.
It's time for a morning news update on Extreme Sports.
We're starting at the state capitol today, where Nebraska lawmakers are expected to return to budget debate after several days of negotiations at the Capitol. Senators are working to close a significant budget shortfall, with disagreements over spending cuts and revenue options slowing progress. Lawmakers have already advanced parts of the budget, but key issues remain unresolved, and some proposals to raise revenue have stalled, while others continue to be debated. A deadline approaching, senators face increasing pressure to reach the final agreement and pass a balanced state budget before the legislative session comes to a close. And Nebraska nonprofits say they're struggling to keep up with the surge in immigration cases as demand for legal help continues to rise, and advocates point to a sharp increase in federal immigration arrests and growing court backlog, with some cases now taking years to be heard. Organizations providing legal aid report wait lists stretching from several months to up to a year, leaving many immigrants without representation. The situation could even get worse with the closure of a long-running immigration law clinic in Omaha, further reducing available services. Nonprofits warn that without more attorneys and resources, many immigrants may be forced to navigate the legal system alone or face deportation. It's coming up on 7:55. Let's head over to the East Side Studios. Mike, what's going on in sports?
Well, Drew Grego homered twice, drove in 5 runs to lead the Nebraska baseball team to a 14-9 win over Kansas State last night in Manhattan, Kansas. Nebraska scored a season-high 14 runs on 15 hits and an error. Kansas State had 9 runs, 11 hits, and no errors. Jalen Worthley pitched 2/3 of an inning of relief to pick up the win. He's now 2-0 in the season. Huskers are 19-6. They'll play Indiana in a 3-game series coming up this weekend. Nebraska junior forward Jessica Petrie is set to enter the transfer portal. She spent the past 3 seasons with the Huskers after coming to Lincoln from Australia. She averaged 11.3 points and 4.8 rebounds per game for Nebraska this year. Former Nebraska football player Levante David retiring from the NFL after 14 seasons. David was a 12-time captain of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and a key member of their Super Bowl winning team in 2020. Hastings College softball team splitting a pair of games at Doane yesterday, losing the first game 9-4, winning the second game 16-9. Hastings is now 10-11. They're 1-3 in the conference. They'll play host to Dordt on Friday. Doubleheader gets underway at 4. We'll have the action on Extreme Sports beginning with a pregame at 3:45. Hastings College baseball team will play Nebraska Wesleyan tonight in a non-conference game out at Duncan Field. The Broncos are 14-11. The Prairie Wolves are 4-11. Hastings beat Wesleyan 5-4 in 10 innings earlier this season. First pitch will be at 6 o'clock tonight. We'll have the game on Extreme Sports beginning with a pregame at 5:45 this afternoon. And in high school baseball from yesterday, Hastings High beat York 7-6. Peyton Drake was the winning pitcher. He threw 4 innings and gave up 2 runs and 2 hits. He struck out 7, walked 1. Dom Monte had 2 hits and 4 RBIs for the Tigers. Hastings now 1-2 on the season. They'll play at Gretna on Thursday. That's a check in your sports headlines at 7:57 on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning weather update on Extreme Sports with Chief Meteorologist Tim Jones.
Another warm day here in south central Nebraska. We'll have highs reaching close to 90 degrees today. Of course, it'll be breezy, and that'll elevate the fire risk. A red flag warning in effect today once again. South-southwest winds 10 to 20, gusting into mid-20s, along with low relative humidity values will spur any fires that hopefully don't get started. Overnight tonight, partly cloudy skies, a low in the mid-50s. Mostly sunny and breezy on Thursday, a high in the low 70s with winds gusting to 35 miles per hour.
We've got south winds this morning at 10. Partly cloudy 55 in Hastings at Extreme Sports.
Trouble's brewing at Elbow Bend and somebody's about to get fleeced. This is Mick with Maleta Vista Winery announcing our mystery dinner tickets are now on sale for the Golden Fleecing, Wild West Murder Mystery. So get your tickets at Maleta Vista Winery's events page. Come dressed as your best cowboy or saloon girl garb. Enjoy a great meal, a glass or two of hooch, and help solve the crime before the night's over. But watch your back, buddy. The outlaw might be sitting at your table. The Golden Fleecing Mystery Dinner at Maleta Vista Winery, March 28th, April 18th.
Connet Auto Care is the trusted name in automotive repair and maintenance services in Hastings. We're a gold-certified Napa Auto Care Center. Our ASE-certified technicians have the Blue Seal of Excellence, receive continuous training, and are committed to providing the best service your vehicle can get. Whether it's preventative maintenance, major repairs, or just an oil change, Connet Auto Care is here for you.
The key to a thriving community is a good foundation, and for over 75 years, Hastings Federal Credit Union has been building and supporting Hastings and the surrounding areas, providing the support for new cars to keep you on the road, new homes to give you a place to land, or help with whatever life throws your way. With easy access via online banking or our mobile app, it's never been easier to have your financial dreams at your fingertips. Come see us at Hastings Federal Credit Union to start your banking journey today.
All right, Mike Wells, Tyson and Vronic with you. It's Huddle Up on Extreme Sports. Again, we'll have college baseball coming your way today. 6 o'clock starting time tonight at Duncan. Hastings College taking on Nebraska Wesleyan in a non-conference game tonight. 6 o'clock for the first pitch on the air with a pregame show at 5:45 this afternoon here on Extreme Sports. On the show tomorrow, we've got a special edition. Are we going to call it the Blazing Five, or are we to the Frozen Five tomorrow?
I think we can go blazing for the NCAA tournament, don't you?
As bad as we were last week?
Let's go blazing. It's 5 picks. It's 5 picks against the spread. It originally started off as the Chiefs Challenge, right? And that was 5 upsets, and I think that would have worked well had we had like a Saturday morning show where we could have picked second round upsets again. But by the Sweet 16, we just ran out of dogs. We ran out of underdogs to select from, and the underdogs that were available weren't that good. So yeah, we're gonna go against the spread. Over-unders. I mean, we were miserable, but I think since it's taking on a completely different shape, and the whole structure of the Chiefs Challenge has kind of been changed back to us, we can go ahead and go blazing 5 again. Unless you want to hear, baby, it's cold outside.
No,
and cold as ice. I don't really want to hear those songs.
Well,
tomorrow.
not when the temperature is going to be in the 90s and 80s and 70s. We got to go blazing 5 this week. So we'll have that for you tomorrow as we look at the Sweet 16. Of course, Nebraska will play tomorrow night, 6:30, against the Iowa Hawkeyes down in Houston. The Huskers arrived in Houston yesterday, so getting ready for the big showdown. 3rd time of the season we played the Iowa Hawkeyes, so hopefully we can get her done. Hopefully we can get her done tomorrow night. Advance on into the Elite 8. That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
That'd be cool. Haven't been there
way
before.
Cooler if we did.
Yes, it would be. So that's coming up on the show. Of course, on Friday we'll have Jim Slacker from the Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network. He will join us to talk ponies. So let's get out of here, shall we? Had a lot of conversation in the first hour of the show. Levante David announced his retirement yesterday. We had a lot of comments coming from his little get-together and his retirement announcement yesterday in front of the media in Tampa. So if you missed that, you can download the podcast and listen to that again. Tim Stroman, the Adams Central baseball coach, joined us here in the second half hour of the show. So other than that, everything is off of my plate. Anything else that we need to bring up before we get out of here?
Nope. Hit the end button.
All right. We'll be back again tomorrow morning at 7 for Extreme Sports on Huddle Up. Have yourself a great day.
You've been listening to Huddle Up. on Extreme Sports, Central Nebraska's new home for sports. Join us every weekday morning from 7 until 8 on Extreme Sports.
Netflix, do the right thing. Do not have a sideshow. Baseball is baseball for a reason. Focus on the game. We don't need all the ridiculousness on the outside of the broadcast. Don't do that. Give us what we want, a nice opener to the Major League season.
Absolutely love it. I concur, though. We should be doing this in L.A. But baseball, you got something right with the standalone game tonight. I will say this. I said a lot with the NCAA tournament. What does the coach matter? It matters tremendously, right? You're seeing the elite coaches like the Rick Pitino's out there, even Calipari still going there with Arkansas, even John Shire and what he's been able to do to replace Mike Krzyzewski at Duke. It matters who that coach is. And I know at UNC, without Hubert Davis now, will they go outside of the family for the first time in forever? Well, Syracuse is not going out of the Jim Boeheim family. And I think right now, that is a major plus. For the first time since Boeheim retired, with all due respect to Adrian Autry, I am really excited about the prospects of Syracuse basketball. And Jerry McNamara yesterday at his intro press conference, and I'll paraphrase, said, Syracuse basketball gave me everything, and Jensen, now I'm prepared to give Syracuse basketball everything. And when you hear that, the NIL dollars start to come in. Syracuse will pay. And I saw GMAC was already out there recruiting. Whether it's for my number, you want to give $3 to the program, whether it's for 2003 for winning the national championship, that you want to put that in for an NIL donation. We will take everything because we want it to be about this community, about Central New York, about Syracuse basketball. I think they will be relevant. Again, we talked about with Rick Pitino and what's going on at St. John's and that revival. I don't think it's going to be long before we're talking about Syracuse back in a Sweet 16, back in an Elite 8. I think they got the right guy in GMAC. He helped them win that only national championship with Carmelo Anthony back in the day. I think GMAC and Syracuse basketball are back, and I think the community there in Syracuse is going to be really happy to see him leading the Orange going forward.
Speaking of getting it right, just a couple of weeks ago, we gave United Airlines their flowers for instituting a new policy of not being able to use electronics without headphones. I didn't think the stock could get higher. It's a new all-time high. Released yesterday, Dave, the addition of United Relax Row. This is coming in 2027. Whoa. Passengers will have the opportunity to get an entire row, with adjustable leg rests that fold up at a 90-degree angle, creating basically a lie-down scenario. You get a custom-fitted mattress pad, specially sized blankets, extra pillows, and if you're traveling with kids, I know this hits families with kids on long-haul flights right in the center. You even get a little stuffed plush animal to help keep those kids relaxed. I'm telling you, United Airlines, job well done. You want to sponsor By the Books? We're happy to take those long-range flights to try out the Relax Row and give our stamp of approval. Man, oh man, all-time high stock up, United Airlines, well done.
That feels like a big man post by you. I can understand that, Jensen, why that, certainly for you, feels like a very, very big upgrade. A little guy like me, I just need a window seat, and I'm good. I'll just kind of get in the corner there. You can stop paying full price for gas. Download the free Upside app. You can earn real cash back every time you fill up. It is quick. It is easy. It really is. And it actually does add up. Drivers are earning up to $200, $300 a year just by buying the gas they already need. So use the promo code BOOKS, title of this show, 25 cents back per gallon on your very first fill up. So download the free Upside app now. Use the promo code BOOKS. A limited time, 25 cent per gallon bonus. Offers vary by user and location. See upside.com for all of the terms and conditions. What goes up must come down. And my first stock down, Cinderella. I thought that's what we loved about this tournament. Where's the little guy? Where's that slipper? Does it still fit? Was it going to be my alma mater, VCU? Could we have counted yours, Vanderbilt, as a Cinderella? I don't know that we could. Does she even exist anymore? Because we don't see any examples of that right now in the Sweet 16. If you want to make Texas, with all the NIL money that they get, Cinderella, then okay, we're really stretching Cinderella, because that would be Cinderella with custom-made everything. That's not cheap. I don't have anything. I got to sew my dress together, Cinderella. This is Cinderella going to the ball in the most expensive dress possible if we're counting Texas right now as Cinderella. She does not exist right now in this tournament. Yeah, the game's going to be elite, but I think it takes away from a little bit of the charm of why we love this tournament so much.
Well, if you're looking at Cinderella, she was not involved with any of the ACC teams in this NCAA men's tournament. Listen, Duke, the lone survivor here, and you just had to kind of scratch your head at some of the performances. Clemson falling to Iowa. All right, is what it is. I guess you could say you got a team that made it to the Sweet 16, maybe has a chance to make the Elite Eight. Virginia, who we saw surge towards the end of the year, no dice against Tennessee, getting knocked out. NC State, SMU, Louisville, North Carolina, meh. Miami, Florida, okay, great year, maybe on the upswing, but man, overall, 8 ACC teams getting in, right? At least counting the first 4, and only Duke is left. Boy, not your father's ACC right now in men's college basketball.
In that same vein here, Jensen, I'm glad that the late, great Bill Walton can't hear this. With all due respect to Bill, it's West Coast basketball in general, right? It's not so much the Pac-10 or Pac-12 that he loves so much with his UCLA Bruins, but it really is just the West Coast that you look at outside of Arizona. Where are you, West Coast basketball? I mean, where is the Gonzagas? Where are the St. Mary's? Where there's nobody in the Pacific Northwest right now that we're looking at and saying that team, they're not here. Nobody is here at the Sweet 16, and really not a good showing in the tournament writ large just to get into it and let alone make any inroads to it. So you hate to say East Coast biased, Midwest biased, Big 12, Big 10, SEC, but they can make that claim because the West Coast, you have stand down for this. There's no standing up here. So again, outside of Arizona, you've got one in the whole region of the West Coast to represent that whole region, and it's only the Arizona Wildcats. No help for Arizona. We'll see how long they can go. But West Coast, what happened to you? You used to be a basketball powerhouse with the UCLAs of the world. Gonzaga, we always took you seriously. And now you're nowhere to be found. Arizona, the last hope out west.
All right, Dave, I love my Vanderbilt heritage, my education there in Nashville. And I had a professor my freshman year who was a speechwriter for 2 former U.S. presidents. We had a public communication class that was part of my communications major, Public Speaking 101. And we had to be videotaped when we made our speeches. We made 5 for the semester. We were graded by our peers. And we received serious points off for using crutch words like and like. I swear to God, Dave, people like Dave, like I seriously, like I thought that like this team would like be really, I don't know, like much better than like they were. I hate when people say like too much. Stop for 3 seconds, construct the thought, and deliver it without or like. You are adults, you young people who don't know how to speak yet, take your time, construct your thoughts, say it the correct way. This is the end of my TED Talk.
It is nails on a chalkboard. Also, it's in that same vein, Jensen, when reporters say talk about. No, you ask a question. Ask a question. You're the reporter. Do your job. That was a great dissertation on like. Our best bets, what do we like? That is next right here on Beeson by the Books.
Pizza's here. Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
This is the Bloomberg Business of Sports. The Oklahoma City Thunder announcing a 15-year naming rights deal for their new arena, targeted to open late summer of 2028, with Continental Resources, the biggest privately held oil and natural gas producer in the world, with its headquarters located in Oklahoma City. The new state-of-the-art arena, currently being built in downtown OKC, will be named Continental Coliseum. The new arena will also host concerts and national sports events, and it is expected to be ready in time for the 2028 NBA season. Meanwhile, prediction market Kalshi announcing guardrails to prevent athletes and others involved in the sports world, such as referees, who could potentially affect the outcome of games from betting on sports they are associated in. A bipartisan pair of senators introduced legislation this week to ban transactions that resemble sports betting. Earlier this month, the state of Arizona became the first state to charge Kalshi with accepting illegal bets on sports. The Trump administration has come out in defense of prediction market companies. With the Bloomberg Business of Sports, I'm Dan Schwartzman.
Here's a look at your weather forecast, powered by weatherology.com. 89 today under mainly sunny skies, west winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight, 55. Tomorrow, highs level off around 72. Turning cooler Friday and Saturday with highs from the mid-50s to the low 60s. Chance for mixed precipitation Friday. And that's your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Frobley. Currently, it's 56 degrees.
Stellig Law Firm of Grand Island is committed to assisting clients throughout Nebraska. Stellig Law Firm is a full-service law firm and specializes in estate planning, probate, and personal injury. Stellig Law Firm takes the time to listen and understand each client's personal needs. To schedule your individual appointment, call 308-675-4035. Stellig Law Firm is located at 724 West Koenig Street in Grand Island. A call today will secure your tomorrow.
Tuned in to VEASAN by the Books, right here on VEASAN.
We continue VEASAN by the Books. This show is sponsored by Upside. You can earn real cash back at the pump with the free Upside app. Just use the promo code BOOKS. Get 25 cents back per gallon on your very first fill-up. All you got to do is go to Upside.com for all of the details. Going to have Adam Burke join us in the next segment, our managing editor, and our Wednesdays with Wes as we see what he likes in the Texas-Houston Open coming up. Remember, no Scotty Scheffler in this one this week. But let's get to some of our best bets. And with Major League Baseball beginning their season tonight, here with Max Fried against Logan Webb. Right now we're seeing about $1.26 to the Yankees here in some books, plus $1.04 comeback on the Giants. Jensen, let's give out some of our plays that we have in the futures market. And I think the portfolio for us has gotten larger and larger. That's why we do the Daily Diamond, and we've been doing that now leading up to Major League Baseball and their start of the season. What do you have already on the books, and anything that you had as a last-minute ad?
Yeah, first of all, make sure that you like and subscribe to our VEASAN Daily Diamond podcast, available now, and very excited to each day. If you do not get to hear our show live, you can also like and follow wherever you get your podcasts, the VEASAN by the Books podcast, period. Okay, so my future board is going to be a little mishmash of picks that I had in our VEASAN MLB futures draft, Dave. And then also one of the very fun markets, I was texting Miguel Alexander yesterday about the most wins that we like to do in March and April, and then May and the successive months. So if you're a better at Caesars, these numbers have been up a lot. Let me start there. Two teams that I'm taking for the most wins for March and April combined. I'm going to take the Cubs at 20-1, and I'm going to take the Orioles at 40-1. I think they have really soft schedules to start the year. Heck, the Cubs get the Washington Nationals at home right out of the chute. They've got every opportunity to be able to sweep that series and get off to a great start. The Orioles beginning against the Minnesota Twins, a team that we believe also is going to struggle this year. And so just early schedule opportunities. Their schedules reflect a little bit more difficulty as we get, farther into June and July. But I do like both those teams at really great numbers. As it pertains to season-long futures, a couple that you'll recall if you were tuned in to our VEASAN MLB futures draft. Pete Alonso I found him at a better price at 25-1 overall for AL MVP. Ellie De La Cruz at the same price on DraftKings at 25-1. Logan Webb, I believe the great Matt Humans also was in on Logan Webb too for the NL Cy Young at 20-1. As I mentioned earlier in our show when we did our Cubs preview, Cade Horton, a long shot at 75-1. Some of the other divisional futures that I didn't want to get into, just more so on the conviction side. I played my top future in the Royals to win the Central at plus 225, and then the Mariners to win the American League pennant at 5-1. And then finally, Dave, only 2 win totals for me to start, and I would really encourage people before first pitch tonight, shop around, because a difference of a win or two. I know you experienced this with Mike Palm last year. Yeah, it really means a lot depending on what side you're on, over or under. Please shop for the best totals out there. The Rockies over 54.5. I do believe they're going to be far better. I believe Gil and Kelly were talking yesterday as I was coming back from the gym on a numbers game at maybe some adjusted win total prices, in particular the Rockies. And maybe this was Steve Fezzik also joining in the conversation at 60 or more wins at a very nice plus money price. But just the straight over 54.5 for me. And then also one of my favorites I did last year, we cashed this with flying colors. The Dodgers under 104.5 last year. We're going back to the Dodgers under 102.5 wins at even money. That is on Caesars, I believe, still available there. So those are much more abbreviated futures for me, Dave, just because the award markets, man, it's hard to beat the chalk. It's going to be hard to beat Skeens and Scooble. It's going to be hard to beat Judge and Ohtani. So not too many of the entries there. And one final one on Rookie of the Year, Munetaka Murakami, plus 850 on DraftKings, the Chicago White Sox slugger. I think that's a wide open race here. A lot of great candidates on the American League Rookie of the Year side.
I caught that as well. Great conversation with Gil and Kelly, and with Steve Fezzik chiming in there about some of these ideas, in that some of these win totals, if you don't want to lay the $1.15, $1.20 on some of the juice that's out there, you can look at adjusted win totals. It might just be 1 or 2 more in some instances to get plus $2. So it might behoove you, if you're going to back some of those overs, as those guys were discussing yesterday on a numbers game, that you can find those markets. You got to search for them there. Instead of laying the $1.15, you want to go up 1 win or 2 wins. Maybe you can get plus $2, plus $3, depending on how high you want to go for some of those adjusted win totals. Very quickly, when you look at the most wins in a month for March and April here to begin the year, are there teams you're going to be looking to pick on? Would those teams this year be the Nationals, obviously, and potentially the I would say the Cardinals? Because traditionally it's the Rockies and the A's. I don't think that's really smart if we think those 2 teams might be better this year. Would you look to fade and find scheduling matchups? Maybe you get 6 in a month against the Nats. Maybe you get 6 in a month against the St. Louis Cardinals. Is that another way, an avenue of approach, in a way to attack those most wins in a month?
I would say yes. There I did. I used my crutch word, minus a point for me. There is a couple of situational spots. And let me remind people, talked about the Tampa Bay Rays earlier this week. They're going back to Tropicana Field. I would look to early unders, and they've kind of revamped everything in there with the new roof, of course, from the hurricane. And so going from Yankee Stadium south there of Steinbrenner Field, spring training home for the Yankees, and going back indoors, Dave, that's traditionally been an under paradise there. So something to watch. You mentioned the Cardinals and the Nationals. I think it's a wait and see, because you kind of get that opening exuberance here with the first couple of weeks. Yeah. Everyone's excited to start the year. So be patient with some of those teams that you think might not be good. There's a lot of adrenaline early. And so you may not want to pick on some of those teams we feel, when it's all said and done, are going to be those teams that are bad. I would look towards some teams that were relatively healthy through spring training, not a lot of injuries to certain position players you were counting on. I am very anxious to see where the Blue Jay lineup is with no Bo Bichette, with no Anthony Santander. They will be a team also from a starting pitching standpoint, and we've mentioned this before, it bears repeating. Teams that have a lot of significant starting pitching injuries that have already had to go to their depth, be mindful of overs, because managers may be looking to use their bullpens a little bit earlier than expected to try and keep those rotations healthy, Dave. So we may see that outs recorded unders could be great ways to leverage those early compromised rotations.
I went to the grammatical judge, and no points have been deducted, Jensen. You said yes in the affirmative, so you didn't use it as a crutch, so it was all fair. Let me give out my futures that I have here. I will say this. Life is too short to bet unders, okay? So I want to be optimistic on some of these totals. I've gone over in some of these markets, and one of them is with my New York Metropolitans here. I got them at 86.5. That has been skyrocketed since I made that bet up to 90.5. I don't know that I'd advise it now with those 4 extra wins. I do think this will be a 90-win team, which will get me to where I like them to win the pennant and possibly win the World Series. But at 86.5, we found the value there before they made the major move to get Freddie Peralta. You and I are aligned in the Royals. You mentioned this. Check those numbers because Mike Palm and I got beat by a hook last year. Was the only futures total that I missed last year was Kansas City, but I'm going back to them this year. I like them to win this division as well as you, Jensen, here. And I think long shot plays here. One, to make the postseason. I got a 2-1 number here, wild card or division. I think they can win that division. Also to win the pennant at 20-1. And I mentioned Bobby Witt Jr. I think he should be in play to be MVP this year. I really like Kansas City in what could be a watered down American League writ large. I think they're going to be a major player this year. Because of what we do in the Daily Diamond here, it got me home on the Giants. I loved your write-up on the Gigantes here. I played them over 80.5. I do think their pitching will be good enough. They get enough hitting here, which I think they can. They should be a mid-80s team there. We love the Pirates and the A's this year. Those win totals have gone up dramatically since I placed those as well at 76.5. I think they're still playable at 78.5 out there. If you can get there, I still think that's a good number. And another Daily Diamond ad for me was the Marlins. And our guest that we had on talking about the fight and fish this year could be a lot of fight in those guys. So I think that when we're looking past Atlanta and certainly the Mets and the Phillies in that division, you can forget about the Nationals this year. You better not forget about the Marlins. And I think it's I don't want to say easy number to get over at 72.5, but I really like their prospects this year to possibly win 80 games. So give me that big variance there with the fight and fish. I like that. And for Joe Frieza, our esteemed producer, I'm not going to root for your Yankees, but in a parlay, Mets to win the East, Yankees to win the AL East at plus 563. I think it's Frank Sinatra time, baby. New York, New York. Let's go Mets. Quietly, let's go Yankees. If they don't cash that ticket, I won't be upset. So it's a hedge against my heart because I can't within myself root for the Yanks. But I think it's a good number to play this year. All right, when we come back, we'll find out what Adam Burke thinks as we're on the eve of not only the Sweet 16, but Major League Baseball with opening day set for tomorrow. And again, Wes Reynolds will join us at the end of this program, get his thoughts on who's going to win without Scotty Scheffler this week at the Texas Houston Open. Come on back. More to get to right here on VSiN Podboats.
Since 2011, the Sharp Plays has been beating the books, and 2025 was their best yet, with subscribers doubling their bankrolls. 15 straight years of winning, and it's all documented. Every pick, every result, posted publicly at sharpplays.com for anyone to verify. When the Sharp Plays moves, sportsbooks take notice. Advanced AI and insider intelligence finding edges before the numbers shift. Respected, watched, feared. Start winning with them at sharpplays.com. That's sharpplays.com.
Pizza's here. Pizza's here. Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Good morning, I'm Mike Will. The sports update on Extreme Sports. Drew Grego homered twice and drove in 5 runs to lead the Nebraska baseball team to a Fort Kansas State last night in Manhattan, Kansas. Nebraska scored a season-high 14 runs on 15 hits and an error. Kansas State had 9 runs, 11 hits, and no errors. Jalen Worthley pitched 2/3 of an inning of relief to pick up the win. He is now 2-0 in the season. Nebraska is 19-6 and will play Indiana in a 3-game series coming up this weekend. Nebraska junior forward Jessica Petrie is set to enter the transfer portal. Petrie spent the past 3 seasons with the Huskers after coming to Lincoln from Australia. She averaged 11.3 points and 4.8 rebounds per game this season. The portal officially opens on April 6th and will close on April 20th for women's basketball players. The Huskers also are set to lose guards Haley Weaver and Callan Hake, as well as forward Eliza Maupin, to graduation. Former Nebraska football player Levante David is retiring from the NFL after 14 seasons. David was a 12-time captain of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and a key member of their Super Bowl winning team in 2020. He finished with 41.5 sacks, 32 forced fumbles, and 14 interceptions in his career. Hastings College softball team split a pair of games at Doane yesterday, losing the first game 9-4, but winning the second game by the score of 16-9. Hastings is now 10-11 in the season, 1-3 in the conference. They'll play host to Dordt on Friday. Doubleheader gets underway at 4. We'll have the action on Extreme Sports beginning with a pregame show at 3:45. Hastings College baseball team will play Nebraska Wesleyan tonight in a non-conference game out at Duncan Field. The Broncos are 14-11 in the season. The Prairie Wolves are 4-11. Hastings beat Wesleyan 5-4 in 10 innings earlier this season. First pitch will be at 6 tonight. We'll have the game on Extreme Sports beginning with a pregame show at 5:45. Marion of Indiana beat Dordt 73-61 last night to win the NAIA Women's Basketball National Championship in Sioux City. It's the third overall title for Marion in the program's history and denied Dordt's three-peat. The defenders were in the championship game for the fourth time in the last 5 years. They end the season at 34-3. Freed Hardeman of Tennessee won the men's championship in Kansas City. They beat Langston of Oklahoma in the championship game last night by the score of 76-71. And that's a sports update. I'm Mike Will.
You're tuned in to VEASAN by the Books, right here on VEASAN.
We continue VEASAN by the Books. This show is sponsored by Upside. You can download the free Upside app right now. Start earning cash back as soon as today. When you download the app, you're going to use the promo code BOOKS, title of the show, get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your very first fill-up. All you got to do is go to Upside.com for all of the terms and conditions. So we've got a big sports day here. Baseball, of course, opening night is tonight. The tournament does roll on. You can give yourself the edge this tournament season and beyond with VEASAN's Hoops Mania Special. So get VEASAN Pro access through May 1st for just $29.99. Get all of our daily best bets from all of our experts, real-time betting splits, AI-powered props, and matchup tools, 24/7 live video and full show replays, March Mania betting guide, it's out, and, of course, our Major League Baseball betting guide as well. VEASAN.com/subscribe, $29.99. That, kids, is a bargain. A man who knows all about that and everything that's going on right now at VEASAN.com. Our managing editor, Adam Burke, joins the program now. Give him a follow on X at Skating Tripods. Joins us here on the Progressive Guest Line. So, Adam, when you see that, everything that's going on with the Sweet 16, we have opening night in Major League Baseball. We always say there's no better time to be a VEASAN Pro subscriber, but really, on the eve of Major League Baseball and opening day tomorrow, this really is as good as it gets when it comes to an offer standpoint.
Yeah, it really is. Opening day today for the Giants and Yankees and their fan bases, but everyone else got to wait till tomorrow or Friday. We have like 3 opening days here with the way